Welcome to the second week of the 3 months data analyst roadmap. This is part 1 of this week. We are going to have some more videos this week because we have some more advanced functions and we are going to talk about them. In the previous week, we talked about the basics of MS Excel and we saw some basic functions as well. But today we are going to have some more advanced functions and we are going to work some more advanced examples in this week. In this week, we will talk about the lookup functions of MS Excel, where we have 3 lookup functions. One is VLOOKUP, another is HLOOKUP, and the third one is XLOOKUP. So we are going to see a few examples of every lookup functions, and then at the end I'll give you some examples so you can also work and practice on them. So without any further ado, let's jump into the video. So let me first explain that how a lookup function works in MS Excel. For example, we have this employee table where we have 4 columns: employee ID, employee name, department, and salary. And in the next table, we have tasks assigned to every employee. We have 4 columns here as well. One is task ID, another is task description. The third one is employee ID, to whom this task is assigned. And now we need to find out the employee name for this employee ID, so this task can be assigned to that employee name. We want to find out the employee name for this employee ID in this tasks table, so every task can be assigned to one employee. Of course, we know the employee ID, but we want to find out the employee name. So here we need to use a lookup function. We can use VLOOKUP function to find out values in columns like column A, column B, column C. Later on, we will see that how can we use HLOOKUP function to find row-based values like row number 3, row number 4, and so on. So let's use VLOOKUP function here and find out the employee name based on each employee ID here. So first of all, I will type equal sign to start the formula or the function, and then we type VLOOKUP. We see a VLOOKUP underneath the cell that we have. So let me press tab key. We have equal sign, VLOOKUP, and parentheses where we are going to add some parameters for this VLOOKUP function. So the first thing it requires is the lookup value. What value we are searching for? We are searching for this employee ID, comma, what is the table array where we are going to look up for this employee ID value. So let me select the table array here. The table array starts from this first record of employee table till the end. We are searching for this employee ID within this table range because this has employee ID column as well. Comma, now what if we find this employee ID in this employee table, then which column are we going to return here? We need to give a column index. Column index is a number for this table. Column A here is column 1 because the table starts from column A. Employee ID is column 1, employee name is column 2, department is column 3, and salary is column 4. So based on this employee ID column, we need to return employee name here, and employee name is the second column of this table. So here I will write 2 because I want to return the second column, comma, then range lookup. Are we going to find an approximate match here or exact match? No, we are going to look for exact 101 in this table, not approximate match. So let me select false here. Now we need to close parentheses and press enter. So it found John Doe in this table for employee ID 101. Yes, 101 is for John Doe. If I drag this down, this formula will run for every employee ID in the employees table and will return the employee name. So this is how we use VLOOKUP function to find values or columns based on a selected value that we are searching for. Now in this second example, it's a little bit complicated, but let me walk you through here as well. We have 2 tables. One is discounts table where we give a percentage of discount for every region. And another is sales table where we have product ID, product name, region, sales amount, and sales amount with discount. After discount is applied, what will be the sales amount we need to find out here. So what we need to do is to use a VLOOKUP function and find out the discount percent for every region that we have here for the products. So what I'm going to do is to type equal sign, then VLOOKUP function. I want to look up for this region in this table. Table is this discounts table. So I want to find discount percentage for every region. Then what column I want to return here? I want to return discount rate. So here we have discount percent. I want to return this discount value, and that is the second column of this table. The first column is region and the second column is discount rate. So I want to return the second column, and again I want to type false here because I want to go for exact match. Let me close parentheses and press enter. Now it says the discount is 0.1. 0.1 means 10%. Yes, that's right. So now let's make some parts of this function absolute, because we don't want to change the parts of this function. Click here and I will type a $sign to make this absolute, and do not change when I drag this function down. Make this absolute. The entire range should be absolute because the table will not change. So this table should remain absolute. If I drag this down, now we will find out the percentage for every region here. Let me increase the decimal point so we can see the exact percentage. Now what we need to do is, we do not need these percentage values. We actually need the sales amount after this percentage. So if this is the percentage, let me explain it here. So if we have 1, that means we have 100% value. If we have 0.1, that means a 10% value. If we have 0.2, that means we have 20% value. And if we have 0.9, that means we have 90% value. So by looking at this table and this explanation, what we can do is to come back here and find out what is the amount that we are going to pay after cutting this discount amount. After cutting this discount rate, we need to find out the sales amount that the region is going to pay after cutting the discount amount. So to find out the exact amount, before that we need to find out the exact percentage that we are going to pay here. So let me double click here again. What I need to do is to deduct this value from 1. So if I minus this entire function from 1, let me close parentheses, it will give me the percentage that we need to pay. If I press enter here, it says that we have a 10% discount for this north region in this discounts table, and after applying that discount we need to pay 90%. 0.9 means 90%. So now let me drag this down, and now we know that the exact percentage that we need to pay for each region is 90% for north, 85% for south, and so on. Now this is also not going to make sense because we need to find out the amount, not the percentage that they are going to pay. So we need to modify the function again. Double click here, and this time let me close this all again in parentheses, and now multiply by this sales amount. So we can get the 90% or 85% or 92% of the sales amount that we are going to pay. So let me multiply this with this sales amount and press enter. Now it's going to give us exact the value that we are looking for. If I drag this down, so the regions are going to pay this amount of value after applying the discount rates. So this is a real example of how we can use VLOOKUP function in sales amounts and discounts. There is a limitation on using VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP because VLOOKUP looks for the very first column or the leftmost column of the table. If the column is not placed in the leftmost side, then it is not going to work. So let's see this limitation of VLOOKUP in another example. For example, we have this sales table on the left, and we have this name and commission. So I want to give a name here and find out the commission of that person from this sales table. Let me type the formula equal VLOOKUP. The lookup value is the value given in this under this name, and then the table is this sales table. The column that we are looking for is the commission, so we need to return the commission, which is the fourth column. So I'll type 4 here, and then I want to have an exact match. Let me close this, and now if I type any value of name, for example, I want to type this Smith, it's not going to work. Why? Because the name column is not placed at the very left side of this table. So if I place this name column at the very left side and bring ID back to the second column, then we can run this VLOOKUP function and we can find this commission. Let's do this. Now that we have the name column to the leftmost side of this sales table, we can come back here and type the formula again. Equal sign VLOOKUP. The lookup value is again name. The table array is from name to commission. The column that we are returning is commission, which is the fourth column, and we are going to have an exact match here. If I press enter and type a name here, for example Smith, that I typed before, and press enter, now it's going to work fine because we have name as the leftmost column of this sales table. If I change the name to Emily, the value of commission is also going to change. So this is a limitation of VLOOKUP and also HLOOKUP. So if you are still with me, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Now let's see an example of HLOOKUP and see how HLOOKUP works. HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP are the same, but HLOOKUP is horizontal lookup. It looks for rows instead of columns. For example, we have this students marks for each subject. We have the names of the students as the first row, and then we have in the A column we have the subject names. All the other values are the marks for each person for each subject. What I want to do is I want to type the student name here and I want to find the marks of that student. So what I can do is to type equal sign HLOOKUP. The lookup value is this student name. The table array is the table we are going to look for this student name. So I want to select the entire table, comma. What is the row index that we are going to return? So this time I want to return the math marks for a student that we are going to type here. So math is on the second row. The first row is the student name, the second row is math. I want to return the marks of math. So I will type second row. We are going for an exact match. Let me close parentheses and press enter. Now if I type a student name, for example Carol, and press enter, the function is going to return 78 because for Carol we have 78 in math subject or in the second row. If I change the name to Emily, it's going to return 88. If you are going to return another row, for example if you want to return history, then you need to change the function from 2 to 4 because that's the fourth row. Press enter. It's going to return 85 for Emily because we have 85 for Emily and this row. HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP are the same functions, but HLOOKUP is looking for horizontal values and VLOOKUP is looking for vertical values. As I said before, both HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP have limitations. Therefore, we have another function that is XLOOKUP that gives us a lot of flexibility and we can use it for both HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP without any limitations. Let's see this example of books and authors. We have a table for books where we have 6 columns. The first one is ISBN, then title, author, genre, published year, and available copies of that book. On the right side we have 2 columns, author and title. I want to type the author name under author column and I want the XLOOKUP function to give me the title for that author. So let's start the formula. Type equal sign. Instead of VLOOKUP we type XLOOKUP. And now it says what is the lookup value. The lookup value is this value. Whatever I type here, that should be looked up in this table on the left side. Then we have lookup array. This time not like HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. We are going to give it exact array where we want to find this author name. So let's give it the exact array. Array is this author's column. We need to find out the author name from this column, not the entire table. Comma. What if the value is found, then which column we want to return here? We want to return the title. We can select only the title column here. And now whenever it finds the author in this list, it will return the title of the book for that author. Let me close this. Press enter. Because we do not have any author name typed here, so we get an error. Let me type a name. For example, let me type Jim Collins. Jim Collins. Press enter and it is going to return good to great. What is the title of that book for Jim Collins? If I change the name again to Delia Owens, it returns the title for Delia Owens. So this is the flexibility that we get with XLOOKUP. What if we want to return not one column for a searched value, but we want to return two or more columns for a searched value? For example, I want to give the title of the book here, and I want the XLOOKUP function to return author name and the genre for that book title. So let's start doing. So let's type $XLOOKUP. The lookup value is this title, whatever I type here, then comma, the lookup array will be the title array from this table. I want to find the title from that lookup value in this table. Then I want to return not one column but two columns. I want to return the author name and genre. So I will select both of the columns together and I will close the parentheses. If I press enter, it doesn't return anything because we do not have any title given here. So let me give it a title, clean code, and it returns both the author name and the genre for this title. If I change the name, The Hobbit, it returns the exact author and genre. What if I give it a title that does not exist here? What happens? Let's see. For example, The Art of Speaking. It returns NA, but I do not want this function to return NA. I want to return a meaningful message for us. So what we can do is we can just double click this function, and before closing the parentheses, let me give it a comma, and it says what should be returned if this value is not found. Here we can give it a meaningful message. If anything is not found, write not found instead of NA. And now if I press enter, it says not found instead of NA. If I change it back to clean code, it returns the exact values, but if I say something else, for example, good to know, it says that this value is not found. Let's see a more advanced use of XLOOKUP. What if we want to look up for two values in XLOOKUP, not one value? For example, here we have a table of teams and their achievements for 3 years. For every team we have their achievement for 2020, 2021 and 2022. So what I need to do is I want to find the achievement of every team for a given year, not only the team but for a given year as well. For example, I want to type the team name here, the year here, and then I want to see their achievements here. So let's start typing the XLOOKUP function. I need to type $, then XLOOKUP. What we are going to look for, we are going to look for this team value. Where we are going to look for this team value, that is this team name. Return team name from here, and then do not return an array here. I want to give it another condition. So for giving another condition, we need to embed another XLOOKUP function here. Instead of giving it a return value or return array, I want to give it another XLOOKUP function. So this time in XLOOKUP, we are going to look for this year, comma, where do we need to find this year? We need to find it in this years array, and then the return value, the return array should be the entire achievement. So for a given name and for a given year, we need to return any of the value from this list. So I need to select all of them, and then if not found, just say not found, and then exact match, which is 0, and then close parentheses for the inner XLOOKUP, close parentheses for the outer XLOOKUP. Press enter, and it says that the achievement for XYZ team in year 2022 is 3,230. So let's see if this is fine or not. For XYZ for 2022, yes, we have 3,230. If we change any of these parameters, the achievement will be changed as well. For example, instead of XYZ, I want to type this Larka, and we press enter. It gives a value of Larka for this 2022. If I change the year to 2020, the value changes accordingly and it gives the right value that we need. So this was part 1 of this week. In the coming videos of this week, we will going to explore some other advanced Excel functions and some real world examples. Thanks for watching.